Naidu again. Just preparing it, setting it up. All right. And we are live. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Hairline. I am your guest host, Jennifer Polly, where we talk about everything that causes hair loss beyond the hairline. And this might include hormones, nutrition, or like we're going to discuss today, maybe it's your ex, maybe it's divorce, maybe it's separation, maybe it's just stress in your marriage. So on that note, I'd really like to welcome my very special guest, Ashala Naidu from Naidu Legal. Welcome, Ashala. Thanks for coming.
Thanks so much, Jen, for having me today. I'm excited to be a part of your podcast today. This is great.
Oh, I am so excited. So for those of you who don't know, I got lucky enough to meet Ashala because she is actually my attorney. I'm going through a divorce right now, and she is the fourth attorney actually that I have been to, and my final attorney, which I'm very happy to say. So she's been able to, we were just actually maybe talking a little bit about this, but before we get in too deep about the nitty-gritty, like what we were discussing, share with everybody how you got in. And that was actually part of one of the reasons why I fell in love with you. How did you get involved with law?
Yeah, so, I have been practicing law for 10 years. I opened Naidu Legal in July of 2019. So pretty much ever since I started practice, my practice has almost been exclusively family law. So I work with lots of people who are going through lots of different types of family law dilemmas, whether that is a separation or divorce, parenting dilemmas, property dilemmas, support dilemmas, even things like adoptions, negotiating prenuptial and postnuptial contracts, separation agreements. So I do kind of everything under the sphere of family law. There's lots of different areas of family law. I found I really fell into this areas of practice really during my articles. So all lawyers will have to practice, for 1 year under the supervision of a senior lawyer before we can start practicing on our own. So through my articles and afterwards I practiced with another boutique law firm before starting my own firm. I got to have exposure to lots of different clients and lots of different family law matters, and it really, really resonated with me. I love helping people. I get lots of energy from meeting new people. I meet all sorts of different people every single day, and I find it to be, so rewarding to be able to help them through whatever legalities they're going through under the family law spectrum.
Well, and it's not easy. Like, like I would never say anything nasty about my ex. We just weren't meant to be together. But it's still very much a grieving process. So it's extremely emotional, and it's really tough to be able to get all this out and get it done. And one thing that I've noticed too, on top of everything that you practice in there, you've made it very easy for my ex and I to just transition with the sale of the home, and you take care of all the other little matter. Like there's a lot of little things I find that your office does that just is very, very, I found very helpful. The other thing that's really intriguing is that you guys really focus on women. Your staff is entirely women, and you help a lot of women. So what started that? What got you down that road?
It was honestly something that kind of happened a little bit on accident. So we
Okay.
have had men practice at the firm in the past, but I do think that, as a firm and a female-led law firm with all female staff, we often get feedback that clients are very comfortable coming in. So, a big part of law and that includes in practice and also with the types of clients who come in, it's about finding the right fit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I do find that, I am often a really good fit for women who are going through transition. I get that feedback all the time from people. We offer a really comfortable, warm office environment. Everybody at the firm is really willing to help. And I think really aligned with our vision as a firm, which is people helping people. And of course, that doesn't only include women, but we do end up with a disproportionate amount of female clientele, I think, just because of that fit.
Well, I think that's awesome though, because like some of us women, I know, I think I relate a little bit better to women, right? There's maybe something like I had one gentleman that was a lawyer, and it wasn't as comfortable of a situation. No offense to him or anything like that, but I just felt like there were people that could what's the word I'm looking for, associate with what I've been through. They could relate, and it wasn't an intimidating office by no means, which I sincerely appreciated. And you said
That's nice.
sometimes finding that lawyer part for the patient or for the guest, it's really tricky to find the match, right?
Yeah, like I mean, I think that a lot of clients go through that when they're trying to find a different lawyer or a lawyer in general, is that it's not always, one size fits all, right? I think that lawyers get a really bad rap that, we charge a lot of money. Jen, we kind of had talked about that too, or maybe that, we're not really easy to talk to, it feels stuffy. So I think that, for everybody, finding the right fit is super, super important. And that mostly goes from the client experience, right? Like,
Yeah,
usually when somebody is trying to find a different service provider, it's not a one size fits all, right? Even with things like clothing, we all have like favorite clothing stores that we frequent more than others. We have, most of us see like certain types of establishments because we like them, because we like how it makes us feel when we go there, right? And family
absolutely.
law and finding a lawyer who's the right fit is no different than that. I, of course, want everyone to feel comfortable who comes into my firm.
I love it. Okay, so now let's move forward a bit. We've got the lawyer, we've got you or someone in your practice. What's the first thing, like when we've got some children, or protecting yourself through the divorce, pardon me, what's the first thing that someone should do when they're thinking about a separation, or if they get blindsided by it? What's the first thing that they should do?
The first thing really that I always try to coach clients into thinking about, or even at a first consultation, if somebody isn't a client, is to make a plan. So, sometimes that's something as easy as sitting down and writing out your thoughts about what your life is going to look like if you do go through with the separation, or if you've been blindsided by separation documents, right? I always will encourage clients to, start keeping, it could be as simple as like keeping a note on your phone about major incidents, keeping a list of like your assets and debts, being aware of where those types of things are sitting at, right? A lot of women find themselves in a situation where they're completely cut out of or not in tune with finances. A very important tidbit is just trying to figure out exactly, how your finances works. When do payments come out? I have a lot of, female clientele with young children who will come in and, they will share a bank account with their husband that's a bill payment account, but have no idea, what day the mortgage comes out, or, when property taxes come out, how to pay a utility bill. Well, if your legal position is, I want, as an example, to stay in the family home and I want my spouse to be excluded, you need to have a good idea on how those things work, because things could fall off the tracks really, really fast if you take a position but don't understand fully how it works. So I think, the best advice that I could give is have a plan.
Right on. What are some of the common mistakes some women make when they're going to do this, when they're getting ready to go?
I think the common mistakes that women can make is potentially, not having that plan in place. Some women get very, very frightened, especially those who have experienced domestic violence, of perhaps not feeling like it's something that's that serious or not feeling comfortable with telling anybody, right?
Hmm.
Lots of women, we always get told to have a buddy system, always talk to somebody if there's things that are going on and you're comfortable talking to them, right? So I think that a common mistake is, making really rash decisions or reactive decisions without taking the time to plan it out.
Fair enough. So when they're trying to plan and everything, is there a specific way that women can help to protect their finances, their business, or even custody issues?
I think it really just comes down to awareness for those types of things, right? So, I
Okay.
mean, the presumption in Saskatchewan and other parts of Canada is that everything is divisible 50-50, and absent, some other reason when it comes to custody, that often includes children as well, right? So I think that, women can protect their finances, businesses, or even custody with just, having awareness of your finances and having awareness of, what life will look like if you are only in control of half of everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you are trying to divide up your life and you're looking at life outside of your marriage, it is a humdinger, right? Half the Christmases with your kids, half the Easters with your kids, all of those ugly things. What are some ways that women can help protect ourselves and just try to stay strong without totally burning out?
I think it's really, I mean, going through a separation and divorce, a lot of people, consider that to be the most stressful thing a person could go through. So, there's a lot of studies that have been published even in Canada that, really relate divorce and the feelings that one gets from going through a separation or divorce to like losing a family member, like actually experiencing the death of a family member, right?
Yeah.
I really think that there's nothing that people could do to emotionally prepare yourself for legal battles other than, trying to speak to counselors. I always recommend to clients that, if they're not in counseling and if they haven't spoken to a counselor, to really try to talk to somebody impartial and
Yeah.
also to try to keep up with like regular life things that may bring you a little bit of relief. So some people, do that by working out, talking to a friend, maybe partaking in some sort of hobby. So things like that, right? I
Making
think that
sure that you're not burying yourself at home and becoming a little bit of a hermit because it will wear on you.
that's exactly it. And also, like a lot of people think that, a legal battle or, even just going through the legal process involves a lot of communication with a lawyer. That doesn't always have to be the case, right? Like, of course, I always welcome clients to communicate with me at any time. They can always expect a response, but I think that a source of a lot of stress and tension in people's lives is when they're wanting to be involved in every single little thing. And like immediately when anything comes up on their file, they're automatically having to call and email. Sometimes it's best just to sit, I encourage a lot of women to keep a diary. And maybe if things are like really heating up, try to keep that communication, to like a once a week or once every couple of days so that you're not constantly in it day in and day out.
I bet a lot of women would confuse you guys almost as if they don't have a counselor, that person that they're constantly always trying to, because you almost get desperate. Like, and can only speak from personal experience, but you just need somebody to hear you. You just need something, right? Like, and that's exactly that, where you need your counselor for those things. That's not for your lawyer to handle. I mean, you've been exceptional with the way that you've done everything. And I mean, really, there's a methodology about all of it anyways, right? So, you can kind of step back and let your boss sort of do their thing, such as you, and, we just sit there and kind of agree with everything and I don't know, just hope for the best. That's about all you can do. But if you're getting worried about losing your kids, or if you're worried about losing your home, is there any legal protections that a woman can put into place?
There honestly really isn't. Like a lot of women who are concerned about custody provisions, I hate to say it because every single case always falls down to what the facts at hand are, right? Like not everybody will parent on a 50-50 basis because that's not what fits for every single family, right? So,
Yeah.
but I mean, the presumption in a lot of, family law matters, especially with young children, is that, mom and dad usually are both equally entitled to having 50% parenting time with the kids, unless if there's some reason that prevents that, which there's a lot of reasons that prevent that, right?
Okay.
So, I mean, I think that part of it is, being realistic about your expectations on what your family is going to look like if you are wanting to live separated or if your spouse wants to live separated from you, right? Because it's not always the separator who wants things done a certain way. People are genuinely blindsided by separation all the time, right? And I think that the only thing that helps prepare a person for those types of things, especially when it comes to parenting young children, is, realizing that one size doesn't fit all, and also really giving some hard, careful consideration to, what life is going to look like for you if you only parent your kids 50% of the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
But on
So
the other side of it too, what will life look like if you're parenting your kids 100% of the time too, right? Because a lot of people also have that side of the spectrum as well.
that's true, where you have to absorb all parenting. That's just the way that it goes. And I mean, that's just where it's going to lead me into my next question. There's some pretty good extremes out there when it comes to different relationships. And there's some women out there that are in some pretty abusive relationships and they're maybe very, very scared. They don't know what to do. How would someone who is in a very unsafe relationship, how would they safely prepare to go legally into the next steps? How do they keep themselves safe?
I mean, safety is always a major concern when somebody is going through potentially a separation or divorce. I always encourage, women, especially who are going through situations that involve domestic violence, to first, tell somebody. And the second thing is, a lot of people become accustomed to not wanting to communicate with the police or the RCMP because they think that what they're experiencing isn't that bad. Or in the alternative, they have made a complaint before but it hasn't gone anywhere. And we all hear stories like this about women all over. I always encourage women who are in situations that are violent, and that includes a lot of different types of violence, to tell somebody about it. The police are here to help us, the RCMP are here to help us, and you are often your best advocate, right? Although it's very difficult to coach women through violent situations, especially women with young children in the home.
Yeah, it's such a, I'm sure it's a day-to-day struggle for them. That's a very, very touchy, tricky subject, and that is one for another day. So let's move on to something a little bit more fun. So entrepreneurship and the legal savvy bougie babe that you are. So a lot of women start their business after divorce as a way to reclaim their independence or as a way to get out of their marriage. So, what are the key legal things that they should know when starting to establish, say, a new business?
Yeah, so I mean, I think that, if you're a woman who is going through separation and you're wanting to start your own business or have been thinking about it in a while, obviously go for it. Like it's great, to have your own business. Have a really good understanding of like the key people that you need to have in kind of your network, right? So if you're thinking about starting a business, having somebody who is a corporate lawyer, having a good accountant,
Mhm.
understanding, in the case of opening a business, like which banks do you like to work with? Are you able to access an operating fund? I think if you have funds available and you potentially are wanting to open a business that has staff, you have to have a good idea of, what people's pay expectations are, doing things like employment contracts, figuring out very, very clearly what your expenses are. So
Oh,
all of
yes.
these things, right?
And don't forget
There's so
payroll
much.
and deductions. And your people don't just cost you X amount an hour. There's deductions plus on that. So yeah, it's lots to know, but it's exactly that. I love that you encourage women to become independent and be their own business owners because I am too, and I absolutely love it. So one thing with being an entrepreneur now, you would have a really tricky job, I think, emotionally. You must have some pretty killer wins, some heartbreak days, of course. But I would love for you to share one major client win or a personal moment that reminds you of why you got into this job in the first place.
Honestly, there's so many highs and lows to private practice. I mean, opening Naidu Legal was definitely a very, very exciting time in my life. There was a lot to learn. I had tremendous support from my family, from my husband. I have two kids, so I mean, it was really a labor of love for all of us when we started the office. And I think that, it was a rewarding day when we opened the doors, and I knew that I had learned enough in practice that I was going to be well on my way. I think being able to, pivot in during the COVID-19 pandemic, because 6 months into practice, COVID hit and everything was kind of shutting down. And, my business, Naidu Legal, was still running very, very lean at that point, but we saw a huge surge in business because of the pandemic. But learning how to be a little bit nimble, right? Having to, do things from home and rethink kind of some of our processes and how we do things has been really, really rewarding for me. And I think just the positive feedback that I received from so many clients, like, I mean, to hear that you did a good job, many of the personal relationships that I built with clients who have become, friends, the positive feedback that, I've received from staff, that could be on both sides of the spectrum, right? In any business, you have positive and negative days of operations, but I think that it's, for the most part, all been like really positive and rewarding. It's the people.
I love it. I love it. And personally, like, thank you for making a tricky situation a lot smoother. This has been amazing. And I love how you are just like showing up as a normal mom. You're not just a lawyer, but you're a mom. You got the Peppa Pig decorated door in the background, which makes for excellent ambiance. I absolutely love it.
I had to run home today. I'm surprised our room, my little dog is kind of back there, but we have a little puppy and she kind of made a big mess today. So
Oh.
I had to pivot my day to come home to attend to her. So
Oh, right on. Okay, so to wrap this up, we've got a couple more minutes. So we're gonna do our lightning round now. That's why I like to ask you a few fun little questions.
sure.
First one, what's your legal superpower?
My legal superpower is that I'm a very good people person. So I'm a very good read of people. I feel like I've always had kind of that superpower that I know how to read people very, very well.
Amazing. Wow, right on. What's one song that gets you into boss mode?
There's so many. There's so many. I'm a big EDM music person, including when I need to focus. I like to put the
Okay.
AirPods in. So I'd say anything Tiesto, maybe Calvin Harris,
Okay, cool.
tropical beats.
Okay. I'm gonna have to check out Tiesto. I've never heard of him. Is it a him? Is it a band? Is it what is it?
It's a man. It's pretty heavy
It's a man?
EDM.
Okay.
You're gonna be like, what?
I love it. I can't wait. Hey, we've all got our secrets. Like I love White Zombie or Rob Zombie. The heavy stuff's good, right? Like it's therapeutic, I find. What
I
is
agree.
one legal myth that you would like to bust?
Um, I think the one that I would really like to bust is that lawyers aren't personable. So I know so many lawyers who are so personable, and that's myself included. So, I can't lie and say that lawyers don't charge, lots and lots of money because I mean, going to a lawyer can be very expensive. Like, I mean, that is, the reality of the situation, right? But I think that we're not personable is a myth that I
I
would
love
like to.
it. Well, you shattered that myth when I met you, right? Like it just like you said,
Oh,
it depends, but you're not scary, you're not intimidating. You were unbelievable. You've been like the best gift that's been happening with just this tricky time here. So, but basically that's it. This has been absolutely incredible. So basically, whether you're ending a marriage, building a business, or trying to, stand up for yourself, whatever the case may be, Naidu Legal. Am I saying that right? Naidu Legal? Naidu
Naidu Legal.
Legal? Naidu
That's
Legal, pardon me. You guys pretty much handle absolutely everything. And so, is there anything else that you would like to add before we let everybody go?
No, nothing at all. Just, if anybody is looking for counsel, family law counsel, I'd be really happy to meet with you. I do offer first consultations at no charge. So even if you're just a little bit curious about wanting to have a discussion or what my life may look like, there's no pressure to reaching out.
Perfect. What's your email and your phone number so they can contact you guys?
My email is Ashala, so it's Ashala at Naidu Legal, which is Naidu legal.com. And my number is 306-954-3528.
Amazing. That's perfect. Well, thank you everybody for coming out, and especially thank you very much for giving us your time today, Ashala. This has been absolutely amazing. And for us, for all of the viewers for Beyond the Hairline, I'm all tongue twisted now. I won't be here next week, but we will be catching up the week after with, I believe, a stem cell doctor, which will be a whole totally different topic. But we're going to learn about regenerative medicine and how to freeze your own stem cells. So
Wow.
take care, you guys. And thanks everybody for tuning in. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.
Thanks, Jen, for having me.
You're welcome. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.